Okay guys, here we are back in episode 16 of Marvel Ultimate Alliance as we continue to storm through the Mandarin's palace and wreck all of his soldier type dudes. And we are also continuing to work our way through the maze here. And this marks the first time that I think we got two ultimates to trigger at once. Now, in this game, you know, you can tell your character to fire an ultimate any time, but the other characters will also be collecting points toward their ultimates as well. Now, you could switch to another character to force them to do their ultimate once the little yellow circle is going around their character icon. But if you do your ultimate and their ultimate is ready to trigger, you can also get it to work that way, so that all of the ultimates will essentially stack on top of each other. That can be kind of useful in the case that you have a ton of targets, or it can be a complete waste considering that some targets or some groups of targets only need to be hit by the first ultimate. Other ultimates have secondary features that might be helpful, like slowing enemies down, that don't necessarily cause as much direct damage, but I tend to find that, you know, you're running into a situation where you fire the entire ultimate and you want all the ultimates to fire. Usually requires you to be in some sort of boss battle where there's more than one target. We haven't really run into one of those yet. Here in Mandarin's Palace, we run into Dragon Man and Ultimo, but they were pretty much by themselves with a few flunkies in the to back them up. In the case of, I think, Ultimo. But that is a thing out here, and you know, you keep looking around for extra items. You can see that there's a big red X on the left hand side of our screen. That is one of our secondary targets, and so we need to go and find a way to get to that thing, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen from down here, so we need to go and run up the stairs. Fortunately, Marvel superheroes are perpetual motion machines, do not need rest. They do need occasional cooldown and refilling of their special power meters, but they don't need, fortunately they don't need rest. They can just run everywhere. And so now we are in this room, and this is the room up that has the Ultimo blueprints. So now we've successfully finished Nick Fury's side mission that he wanted us to do here. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. And we can keep moving out of these rooms. Trying to go toward places in the map that we haven't quite filled out, because that could be where there are new rooms and new places to get to. Like this door right here.
Our enemy is here.
And now we're going to run into a bunch of regenerating soldiers. These guys can get kind of annoying because they will heal each other, and when there's a large enough number of them in one room, if you can't hit them fast enough, they will stick around for a while. Also, this room introduces us to some traps, like the spinning swords trap. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but you can destroy the traps, which is what's happened to those two things there. Alright, as we continue to advance through these hallways, again looking around for wherever we're supposed to go next. This seems like it's a door right here. And it is. So let's go ahead and let's jump in here. And Evidently we've been here before because we have done something to create these coins. So we're not going to be worrying about that. Let's go ahead and look for another door that we can use. You know, I still think it's pretty easy to get lost in the Mandarin level. And so backtracking like this, not necessarily my favorite, but fortunately we did find where we were supposed to be. Of course we found more of these spinny sword traps that we have to be careful about. And more regenerating warriors. At least I think that's what the red mark means. It could be regenerating, and the red mark could mean something else, like additional damage or something like that. But now we've got all the coins from over here, so now we can go back through the hallway. And advance deeper into the castle. And I'm just looking around to see if there are any doors on the sides here, because of the way the building outline looks. And there aren't really. So we are in the next room now, which clearly is a place we have not been before. I'm not saying that just because there's a bunch of clay warriors that have shown up over here for Spider-Man and Venom to take care of. But mainly because there was no filled out map. So now we have this little area, and you can double jump across. Or you can take a flying character over, and probably, considering I messed up the last jump, a flying character is probably the better way to go. But it doesn't seem like there's anything particularly threatening down here. So it looks like we do need to get back up to that area, and we do have a flying character in order to get that done. So let's go ahead and switch over to Miss Marvel, and let Carol Danvers do her work here. And she's going to open a door and run into a room full of just baddies. None shall pass. And given the fact that she's Miss Marvel and I don't know how to use her character at this point in the game, we're just going to punch our way through them. So we're going to gain some levels here for our guys, and then we're going to try to see what's going on. See, these holes look like doors, but they're not doors. You can see they're not. They don't appear as doors on the wall. They also don't look like they go anywhere. So I mean, it's just a little bit of a confusing layout plan. So ultimately, we're just going to the end of the hallway. But, one more look to see if there's a way in. Like we could bash down a wall or something. But let's keep moving. And now we're facing the next mini-boss.
For I am the Grey Gargoyle. What you want is of no importance, my friend. You have gone too far, and now you must pay the penalty with your life.
Alright, so now we're facing Grey Gargoyle. Unfortunately, we got flipped around, so we're actually looking the opposite direction from him, which is why we're not doing anything to him at the moment. Now, Grey Gargoyle, as he said, can turn your characters to stone. This is true for both you and your partners, although it seems to happen more often to your character. And what I'm trying to do is stay away, but we're running out of our powers. Periodically, a Shaolin character is going to come in and start healing the Grey Gargoyle, and my recommendation is to kill the Shaolin guy before you go back after Gargoyle. This was my first playthrough of this game, so I had never seen this fight before, so it took me a little while to understand what was going on. But you can see, you know, I got turned to stone here. And here comes another monk. Okay, so took care of him. But the limiting factor here was, I think, Grey Gargoyle, or possibly both characters, seem to be able to zap your special abilities quicker. But maybe I was just a little too trigger happy at the time. So we kept working him down. Unfortunately, they kept sending in those monks, and they do it pretty continuously once Grey Gargoyle's health gets to a certain point. You can see his health's pretty low here. Here's another monk. He's kind of close, and Carol Danvers has got her ultimate ability. Spider-Man finishes, or we finish him off just in time. And because we've been Spider-Man so much, and he's gotten credit for a lot of the kills and damage that we've done, we just unlocked the Scarlet Spider costume. I forget whether that's the second or third costume available to Spider-Man. But every character's got 4 costumes. And with these characters, I mostly just prefer the costume they get at the beginning of the game. The classic version of Spider-Man, the classic version of Venom, the classic version of Ms. Marvel, and the ultimate costume of Captain America, which looks so much like his MCU costume. So, you know, I don't really mess with the costumes so much in this playthrough as we move into the Celestial Hall, the next part of Mandarin's palace. And we get some more enemies. And now I'm going to show you how not to do ultimates. Never do ultimates when you're in a very confined space like this staircase, because it limits what you can do. What we should have done is run out into the middle of the floor and done them all there. Ms. Marvel's ultimate has a chance to stun, which is what's happened to a few of these Shaolin Monks. And hey, I'm going to collect some money while we're at it, you know. No point in turning that stuff down, and you can see that we've got more of these regenerating characters hanging around. They're going to be with us pretty much to the end of the stage. So that's become the new difficulty mechanic here. And we're also going to run into some other new mechanics. First, let's go ahead and deal with all these regenerating Shaolin Monk guys. And try not to get trapped in any one particular place. Now, not all the Shaolin Monks have the ability to regenerate. One guy who can is the Shaolin Healer here. So if you can, you might want to identify him first. Although they do sort of all look the same, so that may not be the most obvious thing to do here. So here we are in a room. We've got some bombs, we've got some weird openings that we can't really go through. And then we have these boxes. This is the first time I think that we've met these boxes, at least in the Mandarin's palace. And these boxes basically are there to trigger pressure plates. And there are 2 of them in this room. So now it's just a matter of moving the box in a way that it doesn't get caught on things. And it doesn't matter which of the 2 pressure plates you put the 2 boxes on, because the third item that will activate the 3rd pressure plate is actually your team, or just, you know, one character's weight. So again, you know, we just needed to step on the 3rd switch, and then we had another door appear over here, heading down. Once we turn the camera around so that we can be looking straight ahead here. Alright, so there's a save point coming up ahead. We evidently cannot go through this dragon here, so we're going to have to run back. We still can't go into the furnaces. Well, probably a good idea that we don't go into the furnaces, but you know, I'm just... Oh, okay, more secrets. Always fine with more secrets, as long as I don't put things in awkward places where I can't grab them. Off camera, I am trying to switch out items that I think make sense for the characters. And now, our objective is to get to that save point, and that's where we're going to end the episode. So we've got more Shaolin Monks here. Somewhere there's a Shaolin healer, probably in the back, where the team is beating on him, but he refuses to die. It is possible to get multiple Shaolin healers in a room, and they can heal each other, and that's kind of annoying, but we didn't run into that here. Right, now we're going to go in this door, and we're going to be here for a little while. So now we have more boxes, and we have these little spawn places that keep shooting out Shaolin Monks. So what we need to do, besides figure out where the healer is and get rid of him, is we need to shut off, we need to use these blocks somehow to shut off the spawning chambers and keep going. Of course, that's kind of hard to do when you constantly having to fight guys. Our ultimate gauge at this point may be about a third full, so we're not, and a little woozy here. Fortunately, they don't do too much damage, particularly at this difficulty level. Remember, this was the very first time that I played this game. So it looks like we're just going to have to take a chance and well, I don't know. Some of the pods look like they're running out of guys. So my issue is there a place to put the block, or do I need to move it over the remaining vent where guys are coming from? Because at this point there's only one of those left. Now it looks like there's Okay, looks like there's a different colored item back here. And somehow I successfully triggered a switch. I'm not really sure. Okay, so I'm just going to push this over here. No, it doesn't look like it doesn't go there. Okay, there is a... We'll just hit the switch and you know... We'll just hit the switch, not understand exactly what happened, and just keep moving on. Because I think that that switch gave us access to the save point, which of course will lead us to the end of this episode. And so next time we will be ready to keep moving through the Mandarin's palace. You know, it's already a longer level than I remember, but there's one event that has not happened that we must do before we can actually fight the Mandarin himself. And hopefully we'll get to that next time. So as we run up these stairs, I will see you guys when that happens. Take care.